We are here for the historic summit between President Trump of the United States and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. That's going to happen tomorrow morning, but we have breaking news in the last few minutes. Dennis Rodman, famous basketball Hall of Famer, has arrived in Singapore. He landed about an hour ago, left the airport about 15 minutes ago. You can see the media scrum that was surrounding him as he got to the airport. Can't see the T-shirt right now, but on the front it says potcoin.com. It's a digital currency that's sponsoring him. He was asked if he is part of the summit, and it was hard to hear him, but he said, "I'm just happy to be a part of it. I feel like I've brought awareness to a lot of things around the world, and I feel about North Korea," and then we can't hear the rest of what he said. This was not unexpected, and President Trump was asked. President Trump knows Dennis Rodman, of course, from when Dennis Rodman was on The Celebrity Apprentice with the president. Back when he wasn't the president. And he was asked right before he left for this trip what he thought about whether or not Dennis Rodman would come.
No, he wasn't, but I like Dennis. A great rebounder. You know, when you think Dennis was a great rebounder and he wasn't, relatively speaking, that tall. So that tells you, you know, there's a rebounding, there's a genius for that. Dennis Rodman was a great rebounder.
Another key moment that's happened here in the last few hours, another media scrum. Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, actually went out to do some sightseeing. Just because you are the dictator of one of the most repressive regimes in the world doesn't mean you don't like to see local attractions, and that's exactly what he did. He went out to visit the Gardens by the Bay, which sports the world's largest glass greenhouse and tallest indoor waterfall. I spoke earlier with Frank Lavin. He's the former ambassador to Singapore, and he said he thought this was a pretty good PR move on the part of Kim Jong-un, because this is to help him to try to get people to forget that the UN says he presides over labor camps still to this day that have more than 100,000 people in them at this point, and that he has, as everybody may remember, had his brother assassinated, his half-brother assassinated with chemical weapons, and had his uncle executed, all in an effort to consolidate his power, both with the military, with his family, and also within the country. Many around the world are very skeptical about the man you see there, Kim Jong-un, and whether he really actually wants to denuclearize. Remember, that is the mission that President Trump has set out to try to convince him to get rid of his nuclear weapons. And there are great concerns that perhaps the United States might make the same mistakes it's done in the past, which is to give up too soon, too much to Kim Jong-un or to whoever the leader of North Korea is. And Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, said today when he briefed reporters that's not going to happen.
The context for these discussions is radically different than ever before. The backdrop against which these negotiations are taking, President Trump has set in a way that is fundamentally different than before. President's made very clear, until such time as we get the outcome that we're demanding, economic relief is not going to be provided. That's different.
Here's the schedule for tomorrow. They meet at 9 a.m. for a couple of hours. There's going to be a lunch. Reports coming out of Singapore from the Straits Times say that Kim Jong-un is actually going to leave at 2 p.m. President's going to speak with the press at 4 p.m. and then he's supposed to depart Singapore at 6:30 p.m. That's earlier than expected. He was ready to commit 2 or 3 days, but the White House says things are going along more smoothly than expected. Melissa, back to you.
That sounds interesting. Michelle, you had mentioned this PR campaign. That might be a good thing for Kim, but are those images expected to be seen anywhere within his own country? Because there had been reports that part of his delegation were seen dining on $100 dinners in the hotel. Some were going to McDonald's to experience Western food. Will the North Koreans actually see any of this?
Doubtful.
Yeah.
What you imply within your question, Melissa, is to what degree is there any freedom of expression and of the press in North Korea? And the answer is zero. All of the media is controlled by the regime. They waited a full day before they informed the people that Kim Jong-un had actually left the country. So whether or not, I mean, they're certainly not going to talk about people dining on very expensive food or going to, bastions of Western imperialism like McDonald's is the way they see it. So I doubt it.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.